just love this. Something mysterious about a curve and fog, not knowing what's up ahead, but I do, because this is the way I came, and I've been here a gazillion times before. But still, the mood is mysterious, and I love it. So here's the big picture. Vancouver Island on the west coast of British Columbia. The red circle is where Port Alberni is, and I'm a bit north of that. Here's the E&N Railway with two subdivisions. On the right-hand side, going up the coast, is Victoria Subdivision, but we're on the other subdivision, the Port Alberni Subdivision, going from Parksville on the right to Port Alberni on the left. And the red circle is the area of my hike. Here's a close-in look at the area just a bit northeast of Port Alberni near McLean Mill, National Historic Site. That's the start and the end of my hike. It's a great place to walk around and walk through, and I use it to get up to the E&N via a series of trails, including a little bit of the log train trail. Once I get on the E&N Railway at mile 29.65, I worked my way eastward to about mile 26.8, and that was my turnaround point by the BC Hydro lines. And then I went westward from there, all the way to about mile 30.2, shown in the top left of this map. Once I got there, I left the railway and went down a series of ATV logging roads and paths, hard to tell what they are now, down to the log train trail and then back to McLean Mill. So all told, I did 6.25 miles on the E&N Railway, and that works out to be about 10 kilometers, and add 2 or 3 kilometers for my getting there and getting back to McLean Mill for my start and end point, and I'm probably about 12 or 13 kilometers total walking for the day, and that was about 5.5 hours. A lot of fun. Okay, leaving the McLean Mill parking lot. About 8:15 a.m. It's sunrise, but no visible sun this morning because of the fog. I like to walk into the mill site using the railway spur, because I love railway stuff. There's the spur that crosses Smith Road and goes to the E&N main line. Here we have train platform. Last used in 2018 when the Alberni tourism train would come up here. I'm hopeful that it will resume sometime in the future. But for now, it gives me a walk in railway history. And this is what today is all about for me. Here's the switch in the yard at McLean Mill. Okay, time for me to leave this railway behind and walk through the mill property, which is a National Historic Site and is also my gateway to the E&N up on the Beaufort Slope. There's the Buddha locomotive. I love this site for just walking through and seeing the old buildings. There's the sawmill building and the green chain. They used to do demonstrations, but that hasn't happened for a number of years. Going down to the Kitsuxis Creek crossings and the log pond view. And here's the view that I love. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, so now I continue my way through this part of the mill site property to get out the other side and then walk towards the log train trail, and then a steep trail up to the E&N. This is where old-time logging shows used to be held. That's why there's seating, but that hasn't happened for a number of years. I've left the mill property behind, and this trail area I commonly just call the hay slough. I've got familiarity with this area. I've hiked it many times. I think in 2022 I did it in all 4 seasons, but I haven't been here for 9 months, since last April. So I'm curious to see what the changes are when I get up onto the E&N Railway. Changes resulting from windstorms, the land pushing back against the railway route. I suspect I'll see new windfalls, some of them cut through already and some of them as obstacles, and that's okay. I love this spot here, walking through these big trees, and then we'll break out into a cut block with the fog. Straight ahead, beyond the trees you can barely see, is the Beaufort Slope, and that's the west side of the mountain range, and that's what the E&N Railway is climbing as it leaves the Alberni Valley, heading to the Alberni summit and eventually to Parksville. No trains up there on the E&N since early 2002, so we're 23 years now. So I am walking in railway history soon, and currently I'm probably walking on an old McLean logging railway spur. Here's a new to me windfall, and we go into the woods. There was a significant windstorm about 6 weeks ago. It was called a bomb cyclone. Powerful winds. So I'm expecting to see lots of impact from that. And I've arrived at the log train trail, which used to be Alberni Pacific Lumber's railway. I'll come back that way. But I'm gonna go up the hill on the left here. It's called the Trail to the Beauforts. And after about 10 minutes, it takes me to the E&N Railway. But it's a steep uphill grunt for me, but worth it. I'm walking upward in that direction, but the railway is at the top up there. So I'll get there on the path. This is always a pleasant place to stop, catch my breath. I'll continue that direction. Okay, I'll continue upward just a little ways further until I reach the E&N. Okay, here's the railway, about mile 29.65. And this trail continues up the other side, up the Beauforts. Here's Railway West. I'll come back this way to get to the big Trestle. And Railway East towards Parksville. I'm going this way now. I love railway walking because I don't do well on hills, and so railway smooth grades are good for me. And I really love railway history especially on Vancouver Island. This Port Alberni subdivision, Parksville to Port Alberni, is a time capsule from early 2002, where everything is still held and owned as a railway, just no train activity for 23 years, other than a few small places. But the signage is still up, where it hasn't fallen down or been removed by people. And so I like it. It's walking in railway history. The area I'm hiking today, essentially 3 miles out and 3 miles back, is a variety of landscape. It's all hugging the mountain slope, but here you can see we've got nice, lush, soft moss, and there'll be a few different kinds of topography or whatever the word is. So I like the variety. It's the rainy season, so we have the creeks are running nice, makes for good sound. And here comes the track culvert, a unique structure for Vancouver Island. You'll see what it is. Yeah, simple solution. Let's continue on. So the biggest problem for me hiking this section of the railway, Port Alberni subdivision, is this weed, the Scotch broom, which is an invasive species. It's taken over a lot of the cleared areas of Vancouver Island. I hate it. And problem is, in non-winter months, so more than 6 months of the year, it holds ticks. And ticks are nasty, and they can hold Lyme disease. So I stay away. So I kind of limit my hiking on this subdivision to coastal winter months like this. This is our January. It's not too cold and it's damp, but I'll be brushing up against a broom quite often today, and I would not want to be doing that in the warm months and find ticks all over me. So that's my main limiting factor. And here's my first milepost of the day, milepost 29. We're counting them downwards because Parksville, which is the direction we're headed, is mile 0 of this sub. Here's 29. Our turnaround point is going to be about mile 26.8. The BC Hydro power lines. That's the plan. And then when we go west, we'll go west to about mile 30.2, just past the Trestle on our way back. Here's some railway signage on the right. The 2 dots mean that there's an obstruction ahead. So if the snowplow has a blade, it needs to lift it. The obstruction is the inner guardrail on the bridge coming up. We call that the Jordan rail, and it prevents a derailed car from falling off the structure. You'll see them on all bridges and trestles. And here is the bridge, mile 28.9. It's a bridge. It's very short. It's a wooden beam and with concrete abutments on either side. So it's a very simple structure. And it just crosses the drop-off area. There's a concrete abutment there. There's another one here and another one on the far side. And it's just a wooden stringer beam that the ties rest on. For me, it's always full of maple leaves. These are the ones that don't lose in Game 7 to Boston. They just fall off the trees every autumn. All right. I love that bridge. I love this whole section that I'm doing today, but this next bit of a mile is a nice variety of in the trees, maple leaf carpet on the tracks, and lots of creeks, and probably a few windfalls as well. I've just come through this broom. It appears that summer 2024 was a good growth year for the broom. This was a lot shorter last time I was here, so I wouldn't be doing this hike in the summer. A couple of years ago I did. It wasn't bad, but that's the thing about this broomweed, it grows. Here comes some windfall, both right here above, easy to walk under, and a couple larger ones ahead. Okay. Duck. Don't plunk my head. And same thing up here. Thanks to the people who limbed this, making it easy to go around. Yeah, it's a big one. Here's an area where there's a lot of grass growth in the summer because the soil is nice for it. Soil where the ties are. When I break out into this long tangent, I know that I'm just about at milepost 28. That'll be visible in a few moments on the right side. And then there's a lovely waterfall on the left side. So we'll see that in a moment. This is where we start to have some views, but not today because of the fog, of the Alberni Valley below. If you imagine the railway up on a ridge above the Alberni Valley, that's what this is. Far down below is Cherry Creek neighborhood. This is the time of day when the sun almost starts to burn through the fog, but not quite. A lot of these areas I look at with the eyes and memory of over 5 years of walking here. And so changes that I notice are just things usually that have happened in the most recent year. There's a few areas that change a lot or have the potential to change, and I'm coming up to one of them, an area of rockfall. There's a lot of areas of historic rockfall just over and over again. I should mention that in the 23 years since trains stopped running, There have been authorized volunteer groups that have kept the line clear for the purpose of things like speeder tours, the last of which was in 2016. And then there's informal people that keep the line clear for their own purposes, whether they be ATVs or other things. And they're good people that pack chainsaws and push things out of the way. There's a wide angle view. Just keeps coming down from there. I'll watch my step. The rock just keeps coming. Here's a new obstacle for me up ahead. This big windfall. Bit of gymnastics to climb over it, I guess. Oh yeah, split off up there and came down here. I'll climb safely. Oh, but there's more. Little guy behind it here. Two little guys. Oh yeah, I'm having fun with this. My feet. Okay, I'm through. I get to do it again in an hour or so. Fun. Okay, here's spare rail beside me. It's usually spare rail about every mile or so. That's how railways do it. And on the right is a gully that I'm approaching from the west end, and the railway curves around the gully. But before 1971, the original route of the railway went across the gully. I'll show you. On a trestle. That was from 1911 to 1971. The route went down here and just built up into a timber frame trestle going across that gully. And then in 1971, this location and two others, big trestles like that, were replaced by a rerouting of the tracks to closer hug the slope, creating a sharper curve. So that has issues. But it got rid of the need to continually maintain a large timber frame trestle. So we curve around. So this area, as we're still in the curving around the gully, on the east side has a lot of rock that had to be blasted through, both the original route, which approached the trestle, and the current route that we're on right now. So we've got a pretty steep rock cut canyon coming up ahead. And on the other side, on the right, on the other side of the rocks, will be the original route. One of my favorite things on the entire E&N Railway. The trees obscure a lot of this rock cut. I love this rock up top here on the right, standing like a sentinel. Yeah, tall rock. And I'll turn around in a second. There's my path to the original route. We'll go there in a second. That's where we just came from. There's the tall rock. There's wide angle. So blasted through here for 1971 onwards. And we blasted through there from 1911. That was that construction, and they used it till 1971. So let's go see it. I love this because it's very obviously a railway grade. Going straight through there to the trestle, which is not there anymore. So this is the east approach to the trestle. I just love to dream that I'm on a train sometime before 1971. And we come to the gully. We would have continued on straight between those two little trees. I'll show you the view. It's a scree slope there. One of the things I like to notice is this piece of wood. Lined up perfectly in the grade, as if it were part of the wooden abutment for the trestle. Here's my walk out of the old grade, and I shot this in vertical style because I used it as an Instagram reel. I love this area. I mean, the history is just all around me. It's so obvious to me that this is an old railway grade, and yet 50 years of growth of things like moss and the trees. As I get near the end of that corridor, time to take another look back at where I was, and then take the little scramble up to the current grade. I like how it's hidden away. Back to the main line, make sure there's no bears around or cougars, and time to continue eastward. Okay, we're through that old trestle area, breaking out to another tangent. This has got a view of the Alberni Valley, but not much of a view today with all the fog. And this flat area is what remains from the work area over 50 years ago when they were doing the trestle dismantling and grade revision project. Railway continues through there. It'll curve to the right and continue up the slope towards Loon Lake and then the Alberni summit. Somewhere around here was the milepost 27. It's been gone for a long time, the post. I've never seen it other than in an old video, so I knew it was around here. Through there's the Alberni Inlet. Not much to see today. Here's the E&N used car lot. Car's been there as long as I've been coming here, last 5 or 6 years. And we're coming up to the Forest Service Road. I think this is popular with people with ATVs. If you show up here about 10 a.m. on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can hear and see them. And it continues on up there. Now this short little jog into the bush will take me to the power lines, and that'll be my turnaround. Okay, power lines. This is the trunk line from the east side of the island. Comes up at Nile Creek, north of Qualicum Bay. The submerged cable across the Strait of Georgia goes past Horn Lake and into the Alberni Valley, and then continues on and powers up to Fino and Ucluelet area. This will be my turnaround because it's a lot more broom. Nothing too exciting to get to mile 26. I got to mile 26 from the other direction back in October. Yeah, let's go back. Okay, now let's retrace my steps and walk back. So I'm just going to show mileposts and highlights on the way back. So in a quick way, you can see my progress backwards. Back to the Forest Service Road. Going up. Going down. Here's the view area by about where milepost 27 would have been. You'd be able to see the working waterfront of the Alberni Valley on a non-fog day. I always like this scene if you could see the working waterfront and the railway, which tells me that the railway is heading to Port Alberni to service industry. That's what it used to do. Okay, coming back to the area where the grade was diverted in 1971. The original grade would have gone off on the left instead of curving like I am now. And the rocks that I love. I'm back at this again. Show you the vertical view as we look up. Yeah, through there you can see in the middle of the frame where it was snapped off. Okay, back to the historic rockfall area. I'll get out of the way of this guy, which comes from way up there. And on the left, you can see moss-covered rock. That's the indication that it's been happening for a long time and being cleared for a long time. Doing a railway on a mountain slope with lots of rainfall in the wintertime. Yeah, this happens. Again, here's the visual to show you that we're on a ledge on a mountain slope. Some heavy equipment work going on in the valley below. It's a concrete retaining wall. As I like to say when I'm on these walks, I love this spot. I'm back at mile 28. Just took a nice break here with this lovely sound. And look at that fog, it sure is settling in. I thought that the sun was gonna break through, but not on this day. I see the Jordan rail, guardrail of the bridge up ahead. This is the mile 28.9 bridge. It's always fun finding my footing with these many leaves. This structure is just as simple as they come. Yeah. Let's continue Railway West. Okay, coming up to milepost 29. It's nicely hidden. I tried to do a bit of landscaping a couple of years ago, so it would have been hidden worse. Anyway, let's keep going westward. Okay, here comes the truck culvert. Okay, here I am, mile 29.65. That's where the trail comes up from the log train trail that I took this morning, coming up here on the left. That continues up. That's where I came up from. And we'll just continue Railway West. So this coming up, I think, is part of the same creek that I crossed this morning, going up the steep trail. Yeah, here's where it crosses on a culvert. And I can see the Jordan rail up ahead for the timber frame trestle. So this is the mile 29.9 trestle coming up. It's in poor shape up top. It's in pretty poor shape right here, and lots of places. So I walk carefully. But look how colorful and beautiful it is. Now there's stringer beams in the center. Those are the beams that support the ties. So I'm above those. So that helps support me. There's 4 fire barrel platforms. As you can see, the timber from them has been harvested to lay down planks here for safe walking and motorbiking and ATVing and whatever else comes across here. And that's okay, because this trestle obviously is not going to see trains again in its condition that it is. So it would take a rebuild. Yeah, these ties are really soft. I like this fire barrel platform. As you can see, stenciled in gold, 29.9 for the mileage marker. Gets a bit more faded out every year that I see it. Again, you can see the timber's been harvested. It's right here, making it easier for me to walk. And you can see parts of the 29.9 in gold on the bottom plank. Just imagine it. Yep, here's another fire barrel platform. It's been harvested as well. Big gap there. Nice. I always get a laugh from the sign on the right. Green triangle, resume speed. I have no speed. Milepost 30. And a 10-mile-an-hour speed slow order for the trestle. So resume speed to what? 15? Who knows? It's probably slow. The whole thing was slow through the mountains here. Okay, we bust out at about mile 30.1 or so. Cut block below. And pretty soon we will leave the railway and go down a road through there on our way down to the log train trail. Next time that I'm in this area, it's going to be coming from the area straight ahead. But for now, I'm switching off and heading down there. Bye-bye, E&N. So this road, very steep, is a popular ATV trail. And it connects to the log train trail after quite a bit of elevation loss that I'm carefully going to negotiate. Oh yeah, just a little bit steep. Short steps. That's where I just came from. Okay, intersection. Log train trail, left and right. I'm going left. If I went right, I'd be going up towards Bainbridge. Again, this was the Alberni Pacific Lumber Company's railway grade, and now it's a recreational trail. Okay, let's cross a creek. Up there, up the slope, is the timber frame trestle. Okay, back to where I was this morning. Came here, went up a trail in the left background to the Beauforts, to the railway. There's a signpost. I went up to the Beaufort range, but now I'm going to McLean's Mill. Nice to come into the open on the log train connector trail. Straight ahead, I can see the barn roof on the edge of the McLean Mill property. A nice day. Here's what I've been walking down. It's a fog-free view, or less fog, of the slope, and the railway was below that cut block up there on the hill. Okay, I'm back at McLean Mill, their main buildings. This has been fun. Thanks very much for following along. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great day.